Hey, it's James from Marketing for Restaurants. This is episode 154. We are talking why you should be looking at the marketing that you are doing for your restaurant.
Some restaurants are quiet, lose money, and the owner works 70 hours a week. Other restaurants are busy, profitable, and the owners work a few hours a day. What's the difference? They have a secret sauce. Join James from Marketing for Restaurants as he helps you come up with your recipe for restaurant success. Your secret sauce.
Welcome back, everyone. So I'm a bit surprised. This is a two-part episode. I thought we'd be able to smash through it in one, but I didn't do a very good job of it. So in the last episode, we talked about the obvious reason why you would do marketing, and that is to get new customers. A somewhat less obvious reason, and that is for your repeat customers. So obviously, if you've got a database in there, then you can market to the people who have eaten in your restaurant or gotten takeout, and you can get them to come back in. And if it's great food, it's a lot easier to do that. Really important. One of the key things that I think is really cool about marketing is that you can market to people who might want to work in your organization. You're going to get people who are a much tighter organizational fit, which means that the efficiency of your team will go up. That is code for you will make more money, and your retention will improve. The churn of your employees through the business will decrease, and that is cool. You'll spend less time hiring, less time firing. No one likes firing. And you'll spend less time on training those people up. That is pretty cool. This episode is billed as Why Restaurant Marketing Part 2, the top 7 reasons why you should be marketing your restaurant. Spoiler, we might have a couple of bonus ones. But number 4, let's get right into it. To increase the margin in your restaurant, I have spoken to multiple people who say, I don't need to do marketing because we're full all the time. Fantastic. That's really great. Are you driving a Ferrari? No. Do you take lots of holidays? No. Okay, so are you doing really well? Is the restaurant really quite profitable? Well, not really. Okay, so there's something wrong here. Now, if you are at maximum capacity, and whether that's, throughput within the kitchen or the number of seats that you've got, then that's a beautiful situation to be in, because what you should be able to do then is increase the price. And a lot of people say, our price point is really, it's very competitive here. There's 5 Indian restaurants just on this street. And there's a lot more around. So we can't put our price up. Well, one of the things that marketing will allow you to do is clearly enunciate your value proposition. And that value proposition, if it is more valuable than your competitors, will enable you to charge more. And it might be because you're a specialist vegan restaurant. It might be because of the spices that you import from your home country. It might be because of the mad skills that your chef has got. There's 101 reasons why people would want to come to your restaurant as opposed to anyone else's. It could be the really cool menu engineering, the experience engineering, lots of things in there that you could have. If you're driving the marketing, you should be able to increase the strength of that queue that's hanging out the door. And that means that you might be able to put your prices up. Critical thing here, if you put your prices up 2% and your profit margin in the entire business is 2%, you're going to double your profit. That is pretty amazing and scary that many restaurant owners aren't really tracking that. They're too focused on what's coming out of the kitchen to be thinking about that business plan. And we will talk about that a little bit later because I think it's absolutely fundamental. But if you are at capacity, you should be running a really successful business. And if you're not, then you need to be looking at why you're not. And look, marketing could be one of those things. What about cost control? What about the efficiency of your team? There's lots of things in there, but marketing's a really key way that you can be driving that profitability in your restaurant. Next one I'm going to talk about, and this is a big one. Not many people are busy all the time. There's a lot of people out there though who are flat out on Friday night, and they're flat out on Saturday night. But on Tuesday night, that's right, you can hear the crickets. So the 5th thing that you want to be doing marketing for is yield utilization. Now, how do you do that? So there's a couple of ways that you can do it. The first thing is your repeat customers are really quite easy to move across. You need to let them know, hey, on Saturday night, it's really hard to get a table. How about coming out on a Tuesday night? Now, plus or minus an offer. So you might do some sort of offer to come in on a Tuesday night. That's not uncommon. Or it might just be the knowledge driving that. Look, we're really sorry. We're super busy tonight. And you can see the queue that is lined up. Why don't you come back on a Tuesday night? That can work, but we can go a little bit further than that. We can be a little bit more creative, and I think we need to. So I like to use Tuesday nights for the special events. So because a lot of people want to come out on a Saturday night or a Friday night. And, realistically, I've spoken to restaurants that will do, in 8 hours, they will do 50% of their revenue. And they're the 4 hours of Friday night and the 4 hours of Saturday night. That makes it really tough for capacity-wise for tables, and also the capacity that you've got within the kitchen. That can be really hard as well to be able to manage all of those. But if we have Tuesday night as our events night, and, let's just quickly go through them. You could be looking for people so say you run a Spanish restaurant and you're really well renowned for your tapas, then what you could have is practice your Spanish night. Come on in and our staff will speak to you in Spanish. Same for Italian, Chinese. What you're going to do is you're going to target people who are trying to learn that language, and that can be really powerful. A book club. You could start a book club, or you could invite a book club to come in. You could give them some sort of special offer. Anyone who's having a meeting, you can do co-marketing. So you might have a special deal on a certain night for the local cinema, trivia nights. You could have music, live entertainment. You can do special menus. So you might do a special tasting menu. You can do hookups. So you might get the local winery to come in and you'll do a paired 5-course meal. Quite simple to do. And the cool thing about this is that the winery will have a mailing list. You'll have a mailing list. You've got a reason to cross-promote across both of those mailing lists. And it's not just the mailing list, it's the Facebook groups, it's all of those other channels that each of your businesses might have that you could reach out. If you're open 6 nights a week, and so you've got Monday off, most people lose money Tuesday, they lose money Wednesday, they lose money Thursday. Friday night is a cracking night. Saturday night is a cracking night. And then they just kind of get back into profitability on Sunday lunchtime, and Sunday dinner is pretty quiet. But that's where all of their profit is. If you can have a strong Tuesday night, and if that goes well, then you want to start working on your Wednesday and your Thursday, which generally aren't as bad, then you can have a really profitable week because you're not trying to make up all of those losses on your Friday and Saturday night. So, and this is what you want to be thinking about. This is, what is it that you can do to make that Tuesday night the best Tuesday night that it possibly could be? So, and obviously a lot of people, the first thing they do is they come up with some sort of offer, a discount, so 10% off, or, a free cocktail or a free glass of wine or a free dessert, whatever it is. That's all well and good, but I think we need to be a little bit more innovative, because discounting shouldn't be your first go-to when you're thinking of marketing plans. Now, did somebody say suppliers? I think I did. One of the things that I think part of the success of our businesses is the fact that I am always looking back up the supply chain to see what it is that I can do for the people who supply to us to help them in their business. Why do I do that? Because on the face of it, it's a little bit counterintuitive. I should be looking at, getting more customers and helping our customers to buy more. But our suppliers, and it's interesting because when you think about it, wouldn't you like to have a customer who said, well, tell me a little bit about your restaurant, what is it that I can do to help you? So if you're running a restaurant, you'll have all sorts of people who will supply to you. Who are those suppliers and what is it that you can do to help them? So, for instance, I've written testimonials for our suppliers. I have presented with them on panels where they've put their customers together on a panel, and I've tried to speak eloquently about how they've helped us to grow our business. You can do marketing around the fact that you are using a local farmer. Now, for that local farmer, he would be quite surprised at that, this becomes a part of your story. If you're sourcing locally, this becomes part of your story. Meet Farmer Bob. Here he is. These are his potatoes. They're great potatoes. When you come and eat in our restaurant, not only are you helping me, but you're helping Farmer Bob. You can do the same with your wines. You could do the same with your... So let's just think about this a little bit. Craft beer. Are you getting some craft beers in to see if you can sell them? Because if you had a craft brewery that you were buying from and you said, you know what, we're super excited, the craft brewery, they've created a new stout, super chocolatey. We think it goes really well with... I sometimes catch myself out. My little thought bubbles go to places where I get lost quite easily. So the chocolate stout from the local brewery, we think it goes amazingly with our barbecued baked beans, our beef and Guinness pie, our baked macaroni and cheese. And they're just, I just quickly Googled that. I'm not an expert on beer pairings by any stretch of the imagination. But that is an idea that you could do. That supplier is going to be super excited when you put that Facebook post up and you put a bit of money behind it, get that word out there. And so your offering becomes richer. You've got a local brewery that people can try. Obviously, the pairing is really important in that. But when we want to do that event where we're going to do the pairings with, we've got 5 different beers and 5 different meals, we'd love you to come in and try this on a Tuesday night. That supplier is going to be thinking, yes, normally we don't do this kind of thing, but I will do it for you because you're a big supporter of our brand. There's a big bit of if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And that can be really powerful for you. Those supplier relationships, and it could be, what if you miss putting an order in and they'll say, look, we'll do a few extra things to try and get that order out. Having that closer relationship can be really powerful, and marketing is one of those ways that you can do that. If you are baking with gluten-free flour, who is the supplier for that? And do you want to do an information night on, come on in, we've got a special menu. We're going to cook 10 things that traditionally people don't think about as being gluten-free. We're going to be entirely gluten-free on Tuesday night, and we're going to get an expert in to talk about this from a celiac disease society. So together with our chef, and then we're going to talk about some ways of managing celiac disease. Now, there's an entirely new audience that you could reach out to. Vegan, you could do the same thing there. Get your local producers in to provide the ingredients for a special meal. You could get an expert on, really crafting a healthy vegan diet. That's going to be something that's really powerful. And all of those groups are going to be marketing out to their audiences. You're going to be getting new people in. That gives you the opportunity to turn them into repeat customers. But I just think this is one of those areas where you really can let your mind go a little bit wild as you're trying to think of all of the things that you get coming in through the restaurant. Who are those suppliers? How can you help tell their story? If they've got a story that's worth telling, if it resonates with your brand, there are some important things that you want to be looking at. But if you've got a strong vegan community that you really want to tap into, then who are your suppliers? Link in with that. That buy local thing is really, really powerful. Marry it up with a little subject matter expertise, and you've got some cracking events. You've also got a story that's going to resonate with some people. I've seen spirit tastings work really well also. There's a lot of, bespoke distilleries coming online, and you can do some pairings or not, but you can get someone to come in and give a presentation on the process and what makes their product different. They'll love that because it's very difficult for them to get that. They'll be able to sell some stuff. It's a really powerful mechanism there. Here is one that is a big favorite of mine, and this is a little bit know your customer, a little bit innovation. So it's very interesting when you see restaurant owners and they'll say, my customers like this, or my customers don't like this. Yes, okay, that's a really good statement. That's really powerful, and you've been running the restaurant for 20 years. If marketing or if profitability is one of the things that you're struggling, then we need to start asking a couple of questions. What is it that people like who don't come to your restaurant? That, when you start thinking about that, or what is it that we could be doing for our existing customers that would make them come in a little bit more often? And if you've listened to any of my creativity and innovation episodes, I'm a really, really big fan of the specials board. So the specials board, it gives your chef a little bit of an opportunity to do a little something on the wild side, play with his creativity, a little bit of a challenge every week to come up with something a little bit different, or just seize that opportunity when he's out at the fish market and he sees something a little bit unusual. Oh, I could cook something good with that. Today I'm going to cook that. Your marketing really is a powerful way of building a strong understanding about what the people in your local area, part of your, in entrepreneur world, they might talk about that being the total addressable market. So the people who live within a reasonable distance of your restaurant, who might at some point come into your restaurant. How does this resonate with them? We've talked about the Teleball milkshake. Now that is something where some guys came up with the idea of a milkshake that had it's a beautiful chocolate milkshake, really well made, but it had a Teleball in it. With a Teleball, it's a big round donut and it's got Nutella on the inside. Massive big straw, put through the middle, and boom. Now, they came up with that idea, and I don't actually think it's really that hard to come up with that sort of idea. What are the things that you've got in the restaurant? This is just simple combining of, well, not so much ingredients, but finished product. So we make a chocolate milkshake and we got Teleballs. Okay, that's not that hard to put the two together. There should be a framework in your business to ask those questions. Now, so you think it's epic? That's great. But at the end of the day, no one really cares. It's much more important that we know what the people who could potentially come into your restaurant, what do they think about it? There's no point having that on the specials menu and saying, it went okay. Because if the customers who come into your restaurant aren't a big fan of it, then you might make the false assumption that it's not really a very good idea, that you should be moving on to the next thing. What about the people who are walking by your restaurant but aren't customers but would love it? Let's just say that you run a moderately successful Indian restaurant, a little bit sort of upmarket, has a traditional customer base that has been doing quite well, but it's not enough to really drive the profitability to where you want it to be. You could, for instance, do a butter chicken dumpling. Now, that sounds like a cool idea. A chicken vindaloo dumpling sounds even better. Super hot. But let's run with the butter chicken dumpling. You might put that up on the specials board and no one orders it. That's because they're coming in, they're traditional, they've got their favourite meal, they're going to order that. What you could do is put that up on Instagram. You could put that up on Facebook. You could get the word out there. And you are then going to attract, potentially, if it was something that resonated with the market that you were putting in front of, you could get a whole heap of new customers coming in and going, wow, these are amazing. I think the creativity and innovation process goes hand in hand with your marketing efforts. One of the big things that people struggle with is, what is it that I could market? Okay, so the new item, the item that you're going to run tonight, the item that you're going to run this week, or the item that you're going to run this month, that is one of those things that you can talk about. It's easy. You want to get the word out there. Who is it that would like this product? Is there enough people who like this product that it should potentially come on the menu as one of our regular items? And I think I've often said, your menu is one of your key salespeople in your restaurant. So you should be looking to fire a couple of those salespeople. If you've got a dish in there that, unless it's really profitable, so remember our little Boston Consulting matrix, the dogs, the plow horses, the stars, the puzzles. If you've got a dog in there that doesn't make you a lot of money, people aren't willing to pay more money for it, you've already done your little bit of menu engineering around there, and people don't order it that much, get it out of there. It's not worth having on the menu. What is going to replace it? It will be the winner of the ones that you've been marketing for the last 8 weeks. We've had 8 new products in there. This one proved super popular. Let's get people in. Let's put that on the menu, and let's give it to our regular customers and see just how that's going to work. If you're not marketing your daily specials, though, then you run the risk of not bringing in new customers and not really getting an understanding of what the people who could come into your restaurant are looking for. What you will get an idea of is what the people who come into your restaurant, if they think it is a good product. But there's so many more people out there who could be coming into your restaurant. That's one of the things that you want to be thinking about. And chicken vindaloo dumplings. Someone, someone in Victoria needs to do that, because I would go out and try that. Sounds epic. Now, the next one is to seize opportunities. So what are the kind of opportunities that, because these things, they can develop really quickly. So you might have a famous celebrity come into your restaurant. You want to have a marketing platform, a marketing process all ready to go. Otherwise, you will miss that. Also, and this is one of those things that I find happens quite frequently, your restaurant might get written up in a local list of top restaurants. It might get written up in a national list of top restaurants. You might win a significant award. One of the things that I find really interesting is, for many restaurants, that fame is very, very, very fleeting. Some of the things that we see is, so firstly, having a website that's not built for scalability, so that the website falls down when more than 5 people want to look at it at any one time. Or you don't even have a website at all. And this is a real tragedy. So people will want to make a booking, but if the website's down or there is no website, then it really gets a little bit difficult, and you're significantly decreasing the value that you could extract out of that moment. We saw this, and we did a couple of podcasts a few years ago about it, on the MasterChef effect, when a chef appears on MasterChef and their website collapses, or they don't have a website. And that means that there's nowhere that can capture all of that pent-up interest, and it is very, very fleeting. So if you want, you can go back and have a look. We've actually got video of it that we did live when one of our customers at the time, Lume in Melbourne, so Sean Quaid, who we've interviewed on the podcast, a very talented chef, he was doing the Pearl on the Ocean Floor as the final challenge for the contestants. And it was a tsunami of traffic, but within a week it had gone back to it had gone back to the normal levels. Now, fun fact, I think it was about $25,000 worth of bookings that he took in around a 30-minute period. If his website had fallen down, I truly believe that he would have struggled to get $2,500 worth of those bookings. Now, I can tell what you're thinking. Well, I'm not going to be on a MasterChef anytime soon. Hey, look, that is completely fine. I've got an episode coming up that I'm working on at the moment, which is where mum and dad type restaurants have had inordinate amount of success. And often it's just from a tweet or an Instagram post where it gets picked up into national or even international media. These are the things that you need to be thinking about, because if that happens, and many of the times it's not even through planning of the restaurant, it's just one of these things that happen. And without having that marketing platform in place, you can't seize the opportunity. You're not going to be able to do Facebook retargeting. You're not going to be able to collecting bookings. You're not going to be able to collect email addresses. All of those things can be really powerful and really help you leverage the benefit that you're getting from these events. So I think it's one of those little edge cases. The flip side of that, though, is if you're doing innovation, someone might see that product and go, hey, this is really cool. So I know Suburban Burger, just a little burger restaurant where they've got some pretty innovative chefs in there, and they had a couple of Australia Day specials that they were running, and one of them was a Lamington milkshake. And that was written up in a national news website. So a huge amount of PR coverage for a small hamburger restaurant. That's you want to have everything set up so that you can extract the maximum value out of those sort of opportunities. Now, lastly, what we want to be thinking about is there's 3 plans that you should have. The first one, and this is the most important one, is your personal plan. Where do you want to be in 5 years' time, 10 years' time? What is it that you want to be doing? What is your legacy going to be? Too many people don't ask that question. They don't have a plan. And I think that that's really sad. So personally, what is it that you want to do? Now, in that plan, what you want to do then is you want to make sure that you've got a business that's going to be able to meet those requirements. If you want to send your kids to a good school and you would like to take one family holiday a year, then how much is that going to cost? What is the requirement around that? Are you going to be able to shut the restaurant for 4 weeks while you're away, or do you need it to be open? So we're now starting to think about things. Well, I need to put some policies and procedures in place so that when I'm away, it's going to be able to run. Or I need this amount of profitability. So in your business, how many customers do you need to have coming in? What do they need to spend? What does your profit margin need to be? These are all really basic business plan questions. So, crack out the old Excel spreadsheet, have a bit of a play with it, because you should be looking at, and you'll know some of the numbers in your business. And you know what? You might need to increase your profit margin a little bit, or you might want to put the hard word on your landlord to get a bit of a better lease agreement. But how do those numbers sort of stack up? What is it that you need to be doing in that? And then, do you have a marketing plan that is going to drive those customers to your restaurant? This is the big question. Because that is what your marketing plan should be all about. You know what? We have 1,000 people coming through every week, and the profitability is okay. But to really, if I'm going to take a holiday, then I need to be seeing we need an extra 200 covers a week. That is fantastic. And if you got knowledge like that, you're probably in the top 20% of single location restaurants, because very few people are thinking like that. Then what you do is, my imaginary numbers, I'm forgetting them. Was it 200 a week, 200 a month? If it was 200 a month, if your average is $50, that's an extra $10,000. Food costs, 35%. That's an extra $6,500 a month. That's an extra blah, 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 about 75,000 rough figures. That should get you a pretty nice holiday, don't you reckon? That should be pretty sweet. So we need an extra 200 covers, So we need an extra 200 covers a month. Let's bring that back. That's 50 covers a week. It's only 10 a day. That shouldn't be really that hard to do. Then, okay, so how am I going to get them? All right, so what are the niches that we're going to target? What's the messaging that we're going to put out there? Really, really, really basic market planning type stuff. But it's one of those things that too many people don't do. And the thing that I find really interesting is when we sit down with a restaurant owner, we might say, so what is it that you want to do? I don't know. So, well, you need to think about that. Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? Do you want to sell the business? Do you want to build it up? Are you going to pass it on to your kids? What is it that you want to do? Or are you just going to, close it down? That I've seen that happen as well. And then the next week, the restaurant owner comes back and says, all right, this is really important. I've decided that I'm going to do this. It's like, cool. All right. We've now got some good numbers. Let's start working towards putting a plan in place to get that. And the restaurant that was like, can I please have a photo of some food coming over the pass? And it's like, oh, yeah, I haven't got anyone who's able to do it, blah, 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 excuse. All of a sudden, we're getting smashed with photos left, right, and center, because it's not about taking a photo of a dish that's just been cooked. It's about doing the marketing that is required to enable them to be able to take a trip back to their home country or whatever it is that's meaningful for them. To be able to afford for the school that they always wanted to send their kids to, but they made excuses about why they were never going to be able to send them there. So that is it. We did talk about 7 reasons why you should be doing marketing. I think obviously number 9 of the 7 is probably the most important one. Have a think about where you want to be. Have a think about structuring your business so it's going to be able to do that. And then make sure that you've got a marketing plan that is going to support the numbers that you need in that business plan. Those opportunities, for most people, they're fleeting, but I think it's a real shame when you get a massive opportunity and just all of it is left on the table. You don't get any of the benefit of it. That's a real tragedy. Innovation, the creativity and innovation thing, I think this is only going to become more important. Restaurants need to be more innovative. They've had it rammed down their throats in the last 12 months as everyone's tried to come up with an offering that is around a dine-in experience. And I know, so there's a local fine dining restaurant near us called Oh My, and we had a snap lockdown a couple of weeks ago for 5 days, and they had all of this food. It was actually over Valentine's Day, so it was really bad timing. And they innovated, which they'd been doing during the our big lockdown. We had an 11-week lockdown, I think it ended up being. So they were doing these take-home packs. And so we got one delivered, and yeah, it was great. But that's innovation. They would have never thought about that 12 months ago. Think about your suppliers. What is the value that can extract by helping them to tell their story? And that story for them is going to be a lot more authentic if it's coming from a customer. So whether it's the local brewery, the local food supplier, even just the local market, if it aligns with your brand, there's going to be synergies there that you can be driving. Think about the yield utilization, getting those people to come in on, and we talked about, the ideally getting people to come in on the Tuesday night. It's not just that. If you want to be super successful, then you put the policies and procedures in place so that you don't have to be there all of the time that you're open. And that means that you can start doing a couple of extra shifts during the day. So you might do breakfast, you might do lunch, and you're doing dinner, and you're doing dessert. You might be open for 14 hours. That really decreases your fixed cost as a percentage of your revenue. And that means that decrease, if you can cut that by a couple of percent as a percentage of revenue, hey, your profit just went up a couple of percent. And if your profit is 3% goes to 5%, boom, that's pretty cool. The last one we discussed today was increasing margin. So if you're full all of the time, which I know doesn't apply to a lot of restaurants, but marketing, really driving that marketing, making sure that you've got the strength and resilience in that market so that you can put your prices up a little bit. Just as we talked about with yield utilization, putting those prices up just a little bit can make a whole big difference to the moolah that you're bringing home in your back pocket. So that's about it. If you've got I'd love to hear your marketing stories. If you need any help, well, big thing that we're doing is those restaurant website audits. I've got to tell you, there's some shockers out there. If you think it's a part of the problem, there's no obligation. The team just really like having a look at them, sort of picking them apart, and they'll just come back with a report that's going to give you lots of ideas. So yeah, have a think about the marketing that you want to do. I know with our SEO Plus customers, we've been doing some really cool stuff around analyzing their website and then seeing who Google thinks are their competitors, and then going to those competitors' websites and seeing what keywords they're ranking for, and then seeing which of those keywords kind of make sense for us to be working towards building up traction in our customers' websites. And we're seeing some really good results with that, where we can start to shift, those customers who aren't actually looking for a specific place. They're looking for maybe an Indian restaurant near them. Really powerful tools to start increasing the traffic to the website, which will then feed into more bookings. Then you just got a new customer. Over to you, Blue Leader, new customer, provide them with great food, great value, great experiences, and then you are really in the box seat to turn them into a repeat customer. And, this is one of those things you really want to, a key metric in your marketing plan is the long-term customer value, not that once-off. You want them to be coming in. When they do come in, you want them to spend as much as possible. And then what you want to do is make sure that they're coming in as often as possible. Finding new customers and turning them into repeat customers. That's what we love doing. So that's about it. If you need a hand, give us a shout. Hit us up on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever you see us. And yeah, we'd love to help you. And don't forget, do some marketing today. Grow your business. It's all pretty exciting stuff. That's it. Have a great day. Bye.
Want more customers for your restaurant, cafe or takeout? Every month, our marketing tools and information are used by thousands of restaurant owners just like you to help them find more customers and turn them into repeat customers. All of our tools and information is designed specifically for restaurant owners. We know you don't have a lot of time to spend marketing or learning complicated procedures, so our tools are quick and easy to use. If you're looking to increase your revenue and profits or want to work less hours, check out marketingforrestaurants.com.